Sister Melina Abdullah, who's always in these streets. Now, Black Lives Matter. Those three words, before there was any organization, that was always our narrative. Why? Because if we don't matter as human beings, nobody the fuck matters, right? That clarifies that. If Black lives don't matter, then nobody matters. We gotta fight to be human beings. Number two, don't let anybody run away with your narrative. Don't let anybody run away with your narrative. When people know more about you than you know of yourself, that's volunteer goddamn slavery. There's nothing wrong with people out there knowing a lot about us, but don't have them have the edge on us, knowing more about what we like, where we come from, and who we are. Know thyself. Because when you know thyself, everything is a step down below you. Now, Black lives matter. Black living matters. Because this survival shit is some bullshit. I come here not to be a hater, but a congratulator. And I congratulate you for knowing who you are and being here up in the place to be.
He is without question the smartest black man I have ever met. America has never had a president, think about this. Imagine having a president with the intellect of Cornel West. Think about George Bush. Think about Donald Trump. And then think about Cornel West. America's never had a president with his intellect. But I'm not impressed with braininess. It's not just his intellect. He has a heart full of grace and a soul that's generated by love.
At a grassroots. Yes, indeed. You know and I know that we are who we are because somebody loved us. Somebody cared for us. Somebody attended to us. Somebody sacrificed for us. Blood, sweat, and tears. And I don't know about you, but everywhere I go, I tell the world that my greatest honor in the world is being the second son of Irene B. West and Clifton West on the chocolate side of Sacramento, California, inseparable from Shiloh Baptist Church with Willie P. Cook, my pastor, and Deacon Hinton and Sarah Ray, my vacation Bible school teacher. That's where I come from. And we had the Black Panther party right next door in Oak Park, right there on 9th Avenue with Mark, Tima, and others. Let's give it up for the Black Panther party and their legacy, including Larry. Oh, yes, you don't have to agree with folks to know when they for real. They ain't fake, they ain't phony. They're willing to sacrifice for something bigger than them. That's an Ashford Simpson moment. Ain't nothing like the real thing. And then to acknowledge, and that's what we're here for, not just these 10 years, we're here for the 400 years that we have been wrestled with what it means to be human in this strange land. How do you sing a song in a strange land? And let us not be deceived. There has never been a people who have been so chronically hated for 400 years, every day, every week, and every month. That's what Trayvon Martin, that's what Sandra Bland, that's what Pee Wee Five, that's what all those precious folk are talking about in terms of how they speak to us from the grave. But one thing did you notice? Did you notice when the families came up, when Sabrina stepped up? What did you see when Sabrina stepped up? You saw so much grace and dignity and power. You saw style. You saw a tradition working through her because no matter what kind of hatred coming at us, we just keep dishing out warriors, every generation. Here they come. Here come Harriet Tubman. Here come Frederick Douglass. Here come Ida B. Wells Barnett. Here come Malcolm X. Here come Marcus Garvey. Here come Martin Luther King Jr. Here come John Coltrane's Love Supreme. Here come Donny Hathaway. Someday we'll all be free, and we ain't even got to Stevie Wonder's Love and Need a Love yet. Oh, what a great people. What a world historical people who in the face of that kind of hatred can teach the world so much about what love is and how to love. That's what the Caravan of Love of the Isley Brothers is all about. That's the love train of the OJ. And what we're talking about today is how do we keep that love train flowing and moving as it shifts from the older generation to the next. I was sitting with my dear brother, distinguished Professor Greg Carr and the others. We're talking about John Henry Clark, talking about W.B. Du Bois, talking about Gwendolyn Brooks. Oh yes, Toni Morris, James Baldwin. These are not just names. These are human beings who decided in the face of oppression to hold on to their integrity, that in the face of overwhelming deception, to hold on to honesty, in the face of overwhelming assault, to hold on to decency, and in the face of repression, to be courageous. And this is something I want to say to the younger generation. This is very important. Because in the last 40 or 50 years, we've had too many black leaders who has become too well adjusted to injustice. Too well adapted to indifference. Running around scared and intimidated and afraid and laughing when it ain't funny and scratching when it don't get. Great Paul Lawrence Dunbar said, what? Wearing the mask. What does it mean to put on the mask? So you never can be free. You'll never get off the plantation by wearing the mask. James Baldwin said, love forces us to take off the mask we know we cannot live within, but fear we cannot live without. And we got too many folk, especially in black faces in high places, that's just scared and intimidated and obsessed with their careers in the next opportunity, rather than precious brothers and sisters in mass incarceration and the precious children in the hood dealing with decrepit school systems where they got more police than they have counselors and nurses.
Bro, could you put your arm down?
That's what it is to live in an American empire that is in internal decay as it spends trillions of wars somewhere else, but all of a sudden when it comes to jobs with a living wage and health care for everybody and quality education, can't find a penny. They have to cut back on it. That's what Martin King called war priority. And Black Lives Matter 10 years ago said, let's become another wave in this larger ocean of the black freedom struggle. That in the face of overwhelming terror, 244 years of the most barbaric white supremacist slavery in the history of the world. What do black folk do in the face of that? Do we allow that to have the last word? No. Against the law for black people to worship God without white supervision. In the land of religious liberty. The level of hypocrisy. What did black folk do? We stole away at night. We held our hands in a ring shot. And we lifted our voices and created the spirit of swing low, sweet chariot. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Songs that were not just expressions for acoustic affairs, that were speaking from the a heart, mind, and soul grounded in a love that can never be crushed, never be suffocated, never be eliminated, no matter how thick the love is coming our way. And even when we have different ideological and political differences, because see, I'm a free black man, I'm a Jesus-loving free black man, I'm a product of Shiloh Baptist Church, but I know I don't exist without a Muslim named Malcolm X. I don't exist without a Buddhist named Bell Hooks. I don't exist without an atheist named C.L.R. James. That we are jazz-like people. And what is jazz about, y'all? It's about the blues. And what is the blues? The blues is catastrophe lyrically expressed. Nobody loves me but my mama, and she might be jiving too. That's the king of the blues, the genius from Mississippi. Beat me himself. The flip side of the thrill is gone. A strange fruit that the great Billie Holiday from Baltimore City sang. What is she talking about? She's not talking about no race problem. There's never been a race problem in America. There's been catastrophes visited upon black people. Don't get it twisted. If you reduce the catastrophic to the problematic, you've already deodorized the situation. Let's keep it funky. Thank you for introducing me with Bootsy. Funk master. Black people at our best are loving people, are freedom-loving people, but also a funky people, which means we get beneath all the sanitized, sterilized, empty discourse that hides and conceals all the bruises and wounds and scars. You got to keep it funky. Oh, yes. That's not just a new world. That goes all the way back to Africa, but we don't have time to get into it now. But the crucial thing is, the fundamental thing is, in the face of all of the terror from slavery and then the neo-slavery of Jim and Jane Crow, for every 2.5 days for 50 years, there was some precious black body swaying from the trees. But in the face of that, what did we do? We called for freedom for ourselves and freedom for everybody. Why is it that black people never formed a black version of the Ku Klux Klan? Too much love. Grandmama wouldn't allow. Granddaddy pushed it back. He said, I can't stand these motherfuckers, but don't get into the same gutter as them. Make sure you live a life of moral and spiritual integrity. Keep you standing up. Oh, what a people. Oh, my God. And I'm talking about the best of black folks. We ain't got our history of black gangsters and thugs now. And I'll be the first to tell you, I got so much gangster and thug in me. Pray for me, God. I'm a Tupac on that. Oh, the thug. I know the thuggery in me. Yeah. Oh, I was a gangster for him at Jesus, and now I'm a redeemed sinner with gangster approaches. But that's what it means to come from a great people in the face of hatred and terror, love and freedom, overwhelming trauma of all different sorts. What do we produce in the face of trauma? Wounded healer. That's who Aretha Franklin is. That's who James Cleveland is. That's who Luther Vandross is. Wounded healers, joy spreaders. That's Louis Armstrong. That's Dizzy Gillespie. That's Sarah Vaughan. These are not just names. They are the best of America. So when I go around the country, I say, I just want to reintroduce the country to the best of America. Let's start on the chocolate side of town. Oh, my dear sister, my precious Muslim sister. Let's start on the chocolate side of town. And then what does the world and American empire look like from the chocolate side of town? Oh, they got some painful truths to deal with now, don't they? We got the economists talking about this is the economy looks better than it ever has. This is the best that it can do. Those in power doing a magnificent job. Get off the motherfucking crack pipe. Wake up. Take a look at what's going on the other side of town. Yes, there's a strike in Hollywood. I stand with workers. I don't care what color they are, but at the same time, whenever you take a stand, make sure that you are consistent so you're not locked into your little silo, your little truncated framework. You can't be in solidarity with other folk on the other side of town. That's what I'm talking about. Martin Luther King Jr. said what? It was 4 things that would bring America to an end. Overwhelming poverty, racism out of control, militarism out of control, 800 military units around the world, $1.5 trillion spent on the military in the U.S. budget. We can solve poverty, we can eliminate poverty, we can eliminate homelessness for just $210 billion. We got war priority. Corporations and Wall Street and big tech and Silicon Valley got most of the politicians bought off. Let's just be honest about it. It's hard to be free in America when you're a black person. And let us be even more pointed about it. I know that you get this hot out there and I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want to keep you too long. Oh, let me tell you something. Oh, let me tell you something. The only way that the powers that be can keep black people sleepwalking day in and day out is to try to reinforce the niggerization of black people. And when you niggerize the people, you try to convince them they have less intelligence, they're less beautiful, they're less moral. You try to convince them that you ought to be so afraid and scared and fitting in how they want you to fit in and staying on this section of the plantation and don't want to raise your voice. And if you're singing like this in the Apollo and you go to Carnegie Hall, they want Monk to sound like Chopin. Monk say, Chopin, get out of the way. This is Monk. I'm myself. You got to be yourself. Respect yourself. And love yourself. And too many black folk in America to love everybody but black. I don't mind loving vanilla brothers and sisters. I don't mind loving and I love everybody. I come out of Shiloh Baptist. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm old school all the way down. I'm going to be faithful unto death. That's the kind of black man I am, but I can learn from folk. And if I can't begin by loving black folk first, with the priority, look at what's going on in the Ukraine right now. All the TV shows generating this rightly sympathy for our precious Ukrainian brothers and sisters getting attacked. But you notice they don't say a mumbling word about Palestinians. Oh, not a mumbling word. The Shiloh Baptist Church taught me a Palestinian baby has the same value as a Ukrainian baby, and a white baby got the same value as a brown baby, and a brown baby got the same value as a black baby. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Oh, yeah. You ain't got to be no Christian to affirm that. Oh, we got some Marxists and Pan-Africanism, beautiful feminists and anti-trans. Oh, we must defend our precious trans. Oh, they've been viciously attacked in so many ways. Gay brothers, lesbians, sisters, true wives, they made in the same image of the same. Let that love flow. And when the love flows, then you have a lens through which to view the world. Oh, yes, and when you change your lens of how you view the world, it's like falling in love, isn't it? What happens when you fall in love? You start seeing things you ain't never seen before. The same tree you've been looking at for 15 years, all of a sudden got some beautiful leaves falling because you fell in love with something to transform your heart. And what is love? Love is a form of death.
Go ahead.
You'll never know what love is if you haven't learned how to die. Because when you fall in love, some of your narcissism and hedonism and egotism ought to at least try to die. For you to be emerging entangled with another human being. And that entanglement transforms you. Can you imagine what it means to fall in love with a deeply unloved people in the rest of the country and the world? When you fall in love with black people, oh, something dies in you and it frees you up. And you tell the world, bring on anything. Anything you got. All your arrows, all your lies, all your misunderstandings, even your bullets, that will never stop a people who talk the world so much about love and freedom and wounded healing. Oh, what a people! And then on the other hand, black love in a white supremacist society is a crime. Anybody fall in love with precious black people who decides to love black people, not for black people to love you back, but because they're worthy of being loved. What else? Unconditional. And when you reach that point, the powers that be will criminalize you. Wrestling with my dear brother Mark Riley Thomas right now. I love that brother. Oh, I respect that brother. One of the finest to come out of Los Angeles. Think of all the assassinations, character assassination, literal assassination, incarceration. Matulu, we just lost Matulu this past week. Stepfather of Tupac himself. Mumia Abu-Jamal still in prison. H-Back Brown still in prison. Leonard Belcher still in prison. Are we willing to pay a cost? Now, I'm not saying all of you must pay the cost of martyrdom. But if none of us are willing to die, there'll never be a black freedom movement. You got to be free enough to speak your truth. And speak your truth in such a way that you recognize that your spirit can never be crushed. Why? Because truth crushed the earth will rise again. In the next generation, the next wave of witnesses. And we're at a moment now, y'all. I'll bring this to a close. That if we don't have some black love warriors, that's what Black Lives Matter is all about. I know my young brothers and sisters tell me all the time, Brother West, we know you James Brown generation, but stay woke. I say, well, now I'm 70 years old. I can't stay woke all the time. I'll suffer from insomnia if I stay woke all the time. No, I got to stay fortified. I come out of the 6th chapter of Ephesians. Put on the whole armor of God. Put on that breastplate. Put on that shift. Put on those shoes. Make sure you straighten your back up. And when you straighten your back up, you're going to understand something that a brother who used to come to Shiloh Baptist Church every 5th Sunday named Sylvester used to play with his drum Vallejo, and his name is known for the genius that he is. His name is Sly Stone. And he wrote a song called Stand. You've been sitting much too long. There's a permanent crease in your right and wrong. Stand. There's a midget standing tall and the giant beside him about to fall. Stand. They will try to make you crawl because they know what you're saying makes sense and all. Then he got theological because he comes out of the black church of Vallejo too. What you got to say, Sly? Stand. There's a cross for you to bear. Things to go through if you're going anywhere. But it's that dying to the cross that allows us to live to each other, something bigger than us, grander than us, that allows us, as Earth, Wind, and Fire said, to keep our head to the sky. Mahalia Jackson said, put your hand on the plow. And as Fannie Lou Hamer used to say, keep your eyes And what is the pride? It belongs to you. It's like the Commodore's Zoom. It's a freedom song, a freedom dream. Dreaming about a world where you don't have to deal with the police coming at you. A world where you don't have to deal with bullets and guns coming at you. A world where you don't have to deal with bosses on the job engaging in racist microaggressions. A world where people can connect to each other as human beings. They say, Brother West, that sounds naive to me. I say, no, never confuse naive optimism with funkified hope. I'm a prison of funkified hope, grounded in a black love, connected to a great people who keep dishing out these love warriors, freedom fighters, wounded healers, and George shares. Can we do it? Oh, can we do it, yo? Can we do it? Oh, indeed, and keep in mind, for me, this ain't about just no candidacy. I told my beloved wife, I said, if I win the White House, I'm not moving into the White House till everybody has a house. Oh, yeah, that's where I come from. That's what I learned to shine on the Black Panther Party. You ain't gonna see no more of those precious brothers and sisters downtown Los Angeles with me living in some White House built by enslaved Africans and acting like I turned my back to them. No, they gonna have a house first. That's what it means to serve the people, love the people, sacrifice for the people, and then at the same time, know how to talk, know how to have fun. Because black love go hand in hand with black joy. The Frankie Beverly and Mays taught us the joy and the pain go together, doesn't it? Oh, the joy and the pain go together. So the black love, the black joy, the black freedom, the black style, the black conviviality, the black community, and what's working is not just the blackness. I don't want to fetishize skin color. Point it out. No. You could be the most beautiful black man in the world. Still be full of mean-spiritedness. We can start with our dear brother Clarence, but I don't want to get personal. He's a beautiful black man in terms of his aesthetics and his faith. Looks like an uncle of mine. But when it comes to his actions and his deeds, he's on the other side. So it's not just skin pigmentation. It is your spiritual fortitude, your moral education, your spiritual cultivation, and the courage and integrity that lead you to want to be faithful unto death. Thank you all so very much. Black lives matter. Cornel West like Cornel West does. I love it because he loves our people. One more time. Cornel West.